Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this second session. We're going to continue this afternoon to hear more about case studies and examples of the use and the development of hydrogen in the different areas. I'd like to welcome or invite Dr. Pau Faras to join us. Pau has been a lecturer in inorganic chemistry here at NUIG Galway since 2015. His research focuses on renewable energy and in particular the study of light-driven reactions for the production of fuels and chemicals. Pau's currently coordinator of the Atlantic Areas funded SeaFuel Interreg Atlantic Areas project, which has 10 partners. He's also coordinator of another project, Solar 2 Chem. I'm not sure who the funding is from that, but as Pau will explain, he's got a lot of experience in working in this area, and I'd like to invite him to tell us about it now.
So, good afternoon again. So I'm going to present now the project that I'm coordinating, SeaFuel. SeaFuel is an Interreg Atlantic Area program, which means that basically is a project which is based on cooperation and innovation among regions in the Atlantic coast. SeaFuel also means sustainable integration of renewable fuels in local transportation. And with this, we mean that basically we want to produce green fuels and use it in local fleets. Yeah? So the partners that we have in SeaFuel, they cover the quadruple helix. So we have partners from academia, research and innovation, like NUIG Galway, University of Liverpool, the European Centre for Marine Energy in Orkney Islands in Scotland, and also the Institute of Technology from Tenerife in Spain. We have also 4 partners from the industry. So we have Logan Energy, which is full partner, and they are delivering the refilling station. We have High Energy, a consultancy on hydrogen with long experience on the field. And we have also 2 associate partners, Enagas in Spain and Hydrogen Green Power in UK, with various interest in using hydrogen, producing electrolyzers, using power to gas, for example, in Spain as well. We have also, as in Huge, we have the participation of the civil society, which is represented by the Aran Islands Energy Co-op. We have also, as associate partners, local government. So we have Galway City Council and the Cabildo de Tenerife also involved, which will help into developing the policy frameworks that we need to implement hydrogen technologies. And at the end, we have also non-profit organizations like Action Renewables in Belfast, the Renewable Energy Association in Madeira, in Portugal, and the Agency of Energy in Tenerife, in Spain. So as you can see, we have partners in most of the regions in the Atlantic coast, and what we are targeting is basically tackling the common issues that we have in the Atlantic coast. So basically, some common issues that we have in the Atlantic regions is that there are a lot of isolated territories with a good number of islands, of course. They have large energy dependency. They have very expensive fuel and energy imports. And as an example, for example, in Tenerife, one of the partners, every year they are the government is spending almost €1 billion just for fuel imports. We are aiming also at small or medium-sized installations. So the similar problem as Federico in Norway was telling you before, that in some cases, the demand that you have in these islands is quite small. So there are 2 options. Either go for larger scale and then export of the fuel, or you can target small to medium installations to make the regions self-sustainable. The only problem, of course, is that small to medium installations become more expensive. So there is more innovation and research to be done in this area. And in both of these cases, we have also bad grid connection, or in some cases, even no grid connection. Yeah? So these are common issues that we have in the Atlantic coast. And in As an example, and it will be something close to Galway, the Indian Islands, it happened 3 years ago, in which the underwater connection, the cable connection that was connecting to the Aran Islands was broken, and it appeared in the Irish Times and also in the Times in the UK that the islands were left powerless for a couple of months, well, a couple of weeks, and then they had to install generators. So definitely, there are some of these territories that they are very dependent on the imports from other regions. And with SeaFuel, what we are trying to do is to tackle this issue. So the aims that we have in SeaFuel are basically these 5. So would be the use of renewable resources that are existing across the Atlantic coast, and these are mainly solar, wind, and marine. Yeah, of course, solar in Tenerife and in Madeira would be the best ones. Wind and marine in Ireland or in Scotland would be the preferred ones. And then use these renewable resources that are existing already to power a local fleet with zero carbon fuel like hydrogen. Yeah? Also, we have to see which is the viability of using hydrogen as an alternative fuel in these more smaller regions. And we need to develop a policy framework so that hydrogen can be used as an alternative fuel for each of these individual regions. And that's one of the things that is very relevant for the Interact program, because there are some of these regions that they have more advanced policy frameworks already in place, like we saw the examples of Iceland and Norway, and some others that they have basically nothing. Okay, so as part of the project, we're trying to build up not only a network within SeaFuel, but also spreading our aim, and that's why one of the reasons of this seminar is also that SeaFuel is also actively participating in this seminar, with the idea that we can share the knowledge and share the cooperation between the different regions. And the last point is one that you don't have to take into as an easy way, because it's something that's very important, and it's basically the study of the social acceptance of new technologies. Yeah? And we are also doing this in this project. So SeaFuel is a 3-year project. We are now halfway, 1 year and a half. The budget is 3.6 million. And the reason of this more like higher budget is that because we will have also a small demonstration plan in the Canary Islands. I'm going to talk in 1 second. So basically, taking these aims, we have a series of objectives that will be tackled in different work packages. So the first one will be the technical objectives. It's basically building the pilot plant in the Canary Islands in Spain of producing hydrogen from solar energy and seawater, and I'm going to go back to this in a bit. We will replace part of the diesel-fueled cars that are already in use in one of the partners' facilities. We will study also how the electrolyzer is going to behave when you have power intermittency. Okay, we are using solely solar energy to power the electrolyzer. So we're going to basically mimic the light and dark, the night and day cycles for the electrolyzer. And sometimes with these new technologies, it might be complicated to see which is the stability of the systems when they are powering on and off. And at the end also, on the more basic research side, we are going to study also the electrodes of the electrolyzers so that we can use less purity or less stringent purity for the water source that we use now for the electrolyzers, with the aim basically to reduce the overall cost of hydrogen that you're producing. The second point would be the economic. And in the economic, what we want to do is basically create business models for the pilot plant so that it can be exported into the other regions of the consortium, but also into other islands. We will have the feasibility study. So we are aware that with the size of the pilot plant that we have now, it's not going to be economically feasible, or too small, but we need to see which would be the minimum size that with the current technology is going to be feasible economically so that we can export it to other regions. And we will do in-depth case study on the EU locations within the partnership. So we will have the pilot plant in Tenerife, but also because we have the participation of Madeira and Portugal and the Aran Islands, we want to do a proper case study of how much hydrogen, where hydrogen can be produced in the islands, which is the best way to use the hydrogen in those places. The last point will be the societal and policy. So we will conduct surveys in each of these regions to study the citizen perception towards using hydrogen as an alternative fuel. We will also engage, and we have engaged already in some of the meetings that we have done so far with local and regional stakeholders, because we aim to create a hydrogen cluster for the Atlantic area. And we will study also the legal framework to use own energy sources for fuel production. Yep. So in the technical work package, this is the island of Tenerife, and one of the partners, the Institute of Technology for Renewable Energies. It is located on the southwest part of the island, and these are the organization which is basically maintaining most of the solar farms in the island, in Tenerife. So they have vehicles, maintenance vehicles, they are using to go through all these dots that are in the map. And these are the solar farms, and they are using like Kangoo type of vehicles to move around the island, and all of them are diesel fuel. So the other reason why choosing this location and this partner is because on site, they have also already 30 megawatt of solar photovoltaics already installed. The whole facility is run using renewables. They have also on site 2 desalination plants that are also run through solar photovoltaics. So basically what we have already there is a source of potable water and renewable energy for free. Yep. So within this work package, we'll have these 5 main activities, which is basically the assembly of the fueling station that will be done in Scotland with our partners Logan Energy. We will install the fueling station in the Canary Islands. We will replace part of these diesel fuel vehicles that are in ITER, in the partner, with hydrogen-fueled vehicles. And we will have a whole data monitoring system with not only the refueling station, but also the cars, so that we can monitor how much CO2 savings are we getting out of this installation. And the last point would be this system analysis and improvement. So basically trying to improve the electrolyzers so we then need to use such a pure source of water. So this is a small scheme of the whole installation. So basically on site we have already the photovoltaics, and there are some wind farms, so we have a source of renewable energy. We will install the fueling station, and this is a small fueling station. We are targeting about 12 kilograms per day of hydrogen, considering the 8-hour per day operating time. But this is enough for the 3 or 4 vehicles that we are aiming to refuel for the project. We will have also some vehicles, and I'm going to talk a bit in a couple of slides about this. So basically, we have already identified the location of the fueling station. The fueling station is already designed, and it will be in place in November. And if everything works fine, in December, we'll start operation, and we'll start the production of hydrogen. So this is a self-contained sort of design in which everything is inside this box. Yeah? So you have the electrolyzer, you have the compressors, you have the tanks, and you have the dispenser. And you can just go with your vehicle next to the tank and refill your car. Yeah? The other thing that we have had issues since the beginning of the project is that, just skip for this one, so is in terms of the vehicles itself. Yeah? So since the beginning and before even starting the project, we've been in contact with the 2 main manufacturers of fuel cell vehicles, Hyundai and Toyota. And we've encountered the issue that they see Tenerife as a too small market. The investment that they have to put for the fueling stations, for the car manufacturers, and the maintenance of the cars is still too high for them to invest in a new market, in an isolated region. So basically what we had to come up is a way to have hydrogen fuel cars in Tenerife. So this is something that they've done already in other parts of Europe. So examples are, for example, in Paris. In Paris, there are a fleet of taxis that are running with a Renault Kangoo that is fueled with with hydrogen. But these are originally electric Kangoos in which they have added a fuel cell and a hydrogen tank to extend the range of the battery. Yeah? So in C-Fuel, we're going to do something similar. So instead of Renault Kangoo, we are going to take a Nissan EMB, so it's also a van that is electric. And we are going to modify slightly the van with a fuel cell and a hydrogen tank so that we could extend the range, the mileage of the vehicles. But also something that was very important for Tenerife and for C-Fuel is that some of the facilities that the maintenance crew have to go are up in the mountain. In some of the roads, battery electric vehicles are completely useless to get to these places. So we want to see how a range-extended or hydrogen fuel car can help the maintenance crew to reach these places and move around the island. So the other case is this in Work Package 5. It's basically the case studies of these other two special regions, the Aran Islands and Madeira. So there are some common issues. For example, in the Aran Islands, we are all aware here that most of the land is heritage protected. So there is a geographical constraint on how we can install new facilities in the island. So we are looking at ways to try to go over this. And also in Madeira, where they have also the island of Porto Santo, which has already a lot of wind farms and solar farms, which will be in a situation similar as in the case of Norway or the case of the Orkney Islands, in which they are producing more renewables that they can really use. So the case for the Aran, we've done some studies already, and these are the ferry lines that are going into Aran. Yeah? So why I'm putting the maritime application, basically because, I'll just skip this first. So as an average, during the year, about 44% of the total CO2 emissions on the islands are coming from the ferries. Yeah? This is the average. But if you go now to the islands, you will see that there is a non-stop of ferries, touristic ferries, that are going to the islands back and forth. So CO2 emissions in the summer might account for more than 80% of total CO2 emissions. Yeah? So there are a few reasons why we think that hydrogen for cars is not really an option for the islands because of the size of the island and other reasons. But there is definitely a huge interest of hydrogen for maritime applications in the Aran Islands. In the policy regulation, we've already done some preliminary studies, and we have collected regulations which have something to do on hydrogen in all the regions of the partnership. Yeah? And of relevance for Ireland, what we've seen is basically that there are targets from the government in which they want to set 40% share of renewables by 2020, with 12% on heating and 10% of transport. This is definitely not going to happen for 2020, and the government has already said that they have postponed the same targets, but for 2030 already. Yeah? Then there is also the fact that production of renewables is feasible in Ireland, and there is an increasing amount of wind energy that is produced, but the grid is not supporting all this incremental production of renewables. And there is something that is quite interesting to notice on the National Policy Framework for Alternative Fuels, which is basically that the government said that for post-2030, it is likely that hydrogen will have enough penetration into the entire fleet, and it will correlate with the decline of fossil fuel vehicles. Yeah? If we wait until 2030 to start working on hydrogen in Ireland, we are not going to get anywhere the targets that we need to have for 2050. Okay? So forget about these numbers. We need to start at 2020 already. Then the last bit would be the sustainability impact, and these are some recent studies that have been done also within the frame of the C-Fuel project. So first, before doing anything, we did a literature review and basically looking at whatever is out there on public perceptions on hydrogen. And as you are all aware, Japan is one of the biggest pushing countries in the world on hydrogen technologies, and they've done many studies for the last 10, 15 years on public perceptions. Yeah? So this was an example of a paper that was published in 2017, in which they compare the different renewable energy sources. And you can see that for hydrogen, this was already in 2008, yeah? There was 20% of the people of the survey that knew about hydrogen, about 40 or almost 50% that they knew something about hydrogen, and still more than 35% that they had no idea about hydrogen. Okay? These numbers probably now they are completely different, considering that the Olympic Games next year are almost like the lighthouse of hydrogen technologies in the world, with the Olympic Games and Tokyo having a huge push on hydrogen. Okay? So these numbers will be completely different now in Japan, but we need to see which are these numbers in the regions of the Atlantic coast. Yeah? So what we've done is we started about a month ago a series of focus groups in Tenerife, and we targeted 3 different focus groups. One was locals, of course, so if you want to have filling stations and cars for the islands, you need to consider the locals. Okay? But what we considered, and is something that, as far as we are aware, nobody else have considered for hydrogen, we were targeting also the touristic sector. And one of the reasons was that basically in the Atlantic coast, most of the regions are basically, their economy is based on tourism. And Tenerife is one of the big examples of this. Okay, so Tenerife, last year, 4,500 million euro were coming from touristic sector. Okay, so about 75% of the island economy was coming from tourists. Okay? So what we've done is basically doing 2 focus groups, one targeting tourists and one targeting car hire companies. And our aim is basically to see if car hire companies, which they have already a huge fleet of vehicles, they are interested in adopting the technology, see which would be the best way to put the infrastructure in the island, and basically because it's a touristic island, just putting filling stations in the touristic places, it will probably be enough. With one of the main advantages, you can have green flag tourism. Tourists, when they are in tourism, they don't want to spend 30 hours in a filling station charging their electric vehicle, but they will be happy to have a hydrogen fuel car and refuel the car in 3 minutes. Yeah? So these are only preliminary results. We are hoping to have more once we have the plan already operation by the end of the year, and we will conduct also surveys on site with the hydrogen fuel vehicles as well. So with this, I'd like to thank you all, and we'll be happy to answer any questions at the end. Thank you.